One of the many ways to look at Fellini's La Dolce Vita is to look at the dualities faced by its characters and their possibly unconscious but constant hope to find something eternal in things that have time and again proven to be hollow. Not unlike the interpretation of La Dolce Vita around the number 7, as in it catalogues 7 deadly sins, 7 nights, 7 dawns, and its events occurring on several hills of Rome. This particular interpretation of dualities does not claim to be the definitive or even consistent interpretation, as the film does not at all seem to be a mathematical puzzle to be solved and its answer to be revealed, but it seems to be a poetic expression of life itself. Life, which surely has many things that helps us make sense of it, but even more things that contradicts all that was making sense. And I wouldn't say that due to the fear of inconsistencies and contradictions, one shouldn't even try to interpret life, or in this case, this film, because at least this effort to interpret engages and activates us with it, and its poetic quality does not become the reason for our conscious ignorance. And who knows if the aspects that seems to be contradictory from a distance just might prove to be complementary when looked intimately. In the so-called episode 1 of La Dolce Vita, we see Marcello Rubini, a gossip columnist split between two women, his suicidal fiancée Emma and a wealthy heiress Maddalena. Maybe split would be a wrong word because we don't see him in any kind of conflict or concern about the present and future of his relationships with any of the two. This duality to which Marcello is unconcerned just might make him lose both of these women, as hinted in the final episode. Even when Emma has overdosed and is lying sick in the hospital, he makes an effort to call Maddalena. Probably not for any good reason, maybe just for the sake of it. And the episode ends there, making us aware of the duality he is facing at the moment. What does Marcello want? What does he want from Emma? What does he seek from Maddalena? Marcello might just shrug these questions off, but if we don't, we would be able to see that the thoughtless instincts that lead him into this kind of life aren't very different from the instincts of a wildlife. This duality I am talking about gets most clear and definite when we look at the lives of Marcello and his intellectual friend Steiner. Steiner is all what Marcello would call a person with a perfect and an aspirational life. Steiner has a luxurious home, a wife, two loving children, and can afford to have his intellectual friends of various kinds come over to his home and have discussions on ideas more than about day-to-day concerns. But Steiner, who maybe is the pinnacle in the art of living according to Marcello, is himself torn between the duality of his safe, secure, materialistic life and a relatively insecure spiritual way of life. I don't think it would be incorrect to think that the mental state Steiner is in right now might be very similar to the mental state Gautam Buddha was in before he left his palace. Steiner also has this brilliant dialogue that the most miserable life is better than a sheltered existence in an organized society where everything is calculated and perfected. But his fears, especially his fears for his children who will have to face the world one day, overpowers his will to lead a spiritual life, leading to his and his family's tragic end. In episode 5, we see Marcello meeting his father, who Marcello rarely sees. Marcello and his father go into the Cha-Cha Club, and when his father sees the beautiful dancer Fanny, we see him making comments which we might expect to hear from a teenager stepping into youth. It seems that his father would maintain the same lifestyle as Marcello if his body and its age let him to. And when he has an heart attack just after showing off his youthfulness in front of Fanny, we see him realize his age and he immediately leaves the following dawn, much to the dismay of Marcello. We see Marcello confiding to Paparazzo about how his father was almost absent in his childhood. Maybe that's why, when at Steiner's house, when Emma tells her wishes to Marcello about how they would also have such a house and a family like this, Marcello moodily turns away. Maybe due to his absentee father, there is not many things that might attract him to the idea of having a family. Another example of such duality is seen when Marcello, the journalist, is trying to write a novel in the pursuit of a literary and a more artistic career. But in the end, as we see, let alone to write a novel, he had even left journalism behind and became a publicity agent. That is maybe what could afford his lifestyle, unlike the possibly belated monetary gains from the life of art and literature. In La Dolce Vita, there are many more trailings of dualities which are also worth pondering over, such as the dualism of people bringing Jesus from the Roman aqueduct to the civilized Vatican in the opening scene, and in the closing scene, people bringing a monster fish from ocean to land. Another duality is seen for Sylvia, the Swedish American actress who is between Marcello and her boyfriend Robert. Also, when Marcello is running behind the perfect woman in the alleys of Rome, it's hard not to think of two children and a crowd behind them running behind a purported sighting of the Madonna. We also hear Perez Prado's Patricia twice, once sung by Paula, the Umbrian angel-looking girl, and another time in the final episode when Nadia performs a striptease on the same song. So what is La Dolce Vita about? Its success might lie in the difference between our answers to this question, but I think it's undeniable that this poem, this epic poem, is not about any particular thing. Maybe it's a song of nothing, which is the only way it can be a song of everything. And as Orson Welles has said,
but the theater and the cinema must not depend on the director. People always answer that by saying, yes, what's important is the story, the script. They are absolutely wrong. The story and the script is the third most important thing. Because you can make a wonderful film about nothing. Look at Fellini.
Regardez Fellini.